so Vickie, you are do dressage, and you've been doing that for how many years?
Since I was 20 with and I'm 71 with a break of 15 years.
Okay, okay.
So
And so tell me again what you were saying before about the goal of classical dressage.
the goal of classical dressage for the horse is to improve the horse and get them to use their bodies athletically, like we do. I mean, to use their core, to use their backs correctly, to use their necks correctly, and it actually improves the physical being of the horse.
Oh,
So,
okay. I didn't realize that.
well, it's the goal of dressage in general, but these days there's a lot of what's called, the technique has been sort of jump started. People take shortcuts. They don't really know what they're trying to accomplish. So I've always kind of been a purist and really wanted to do it correctly. So I'm a little bit different than the average. A lot of people that compete just want to get out there and compete and ride the particular movements, but they don't have the horse in the correct posture to do the movements that will be beneficial to the horse. You can do the movements it's like us. You do a squat, but if your body's not in the right frame, you're not really benefiting your body. It's the same thing with the horse. If they do a particular gymnastic move, if their body is not being used correctly, it doesn't really benefit the horse. So my interest has always been to, benefit the horse with my own body. The rider is not, if the rider is sitting crooked or not weighting him or herself correctly, then the horse just steps under you and tries to follow your weight and moves incorrectly. So the burden is on the rider to be correct, to get that horse to be correct. And that's what I've been struggling to try to achieve, all these years. I was somebody who could always recognize it, see it when it was correct, which not everybody can do. And I knew that I didn't have the tools in my own body to work with the horse correctly. And now with the work I've done with you, I am very confident that I have those tools, after all this time and all this struggle.
Yeah, I know you sent me a page of 2 pages of what you've tried, and
Right.
You've been very diligent and persistent. And do you want to talk about what you think was missing from that?
Well, let me just say that missing probably for me personally, because as I mentioned to you, consider myself somewhat less athletic than average. So I didn't have a good sense of what it would take for me to have my body moving correctly. I didn't walk correctly. I didn't stand correctly. My posture was incorrect. So when I sat up on a horse, I just carried those attributes to the saddle. And I tried all these years to overcome my bad, my bad habit.
Oops, I'm sorry, that just
Information that I needed until I did your work.
uh-huh.
Because you gave me like the final touch of like, okay, finally I understand where I'm supposed to be to get my body to work efficiently, because you can't force it. The body has to be where it needs to be in order for it to work.
Yeah.
And the work I did with you actually put my body where it needed to be without me having to push, squeeze, do all kinds of contortions to get there. Because once you start contorting yourself, you don't have it. And I always would get criticized for, don't brace, you work too hard, you're using too many muscles. It's like, what does that even mean?
Right.
And right, but now, no, go ahead.
Yeah, no, but that's just with anything, right? With dancers, whenever people are instructing you to move your body a certain way, if you can't do it, you're going to put effort into it. But if you can't do it, then it's on the instructor to see and figure out a way to instruct differently. But a lot of instructors are kind of in their modality, so they teach the modality instead of teach just the organic structure in gravity, basically.
Well, they don't. And like in the riding world, I think a lot of times the instructors don't know what the correct movement of the body is supposed to be. Riding is not a sport where there's any certification. You can say you're a riding, if you're a good rider, you can just become an instructor.
Oh,
there's no training, there's no curriculum. So they don't have to learn anything. And they have, as we've talked about, have all these phrases, relax, relax your back, let your back move, sit up straight, keep your heels down, sit on your sit bones. Yeah, well, what does that? Yeah, you can do that in many ways incorrectly, obviously.
Yeah.
And there's only one right way. I think I've heard that there's many ways to do it wrong,
Uh-huh.
but there's really only one right way. And I don't mean it's not right, the same thing for everybody, but everybody's body kind of functions a little differently. And for me, the instructor I have now, as I mentioned to you, is very talented. And she said to me, relax your joints. Okay. Now, when I do your stuff, the way my body is, actually, my joints feel tighter because I'm like lining them up, and they're in a place where they're not used to being, so they're not relaxed, but yet they're functioning. So I know that my sensation of that is different than what she described, and it's not her fault. That's how it feels to her.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
exactly. I think, yeah, that's a very good point. I think a lot of people do instruct, I mean, everybody does, from how they feel, particularly if they're just doing the movement piece. And so they move inside of their body, they watch other people move. If they don't have a way to kind of be in the body differently, so I touch bodies, so I feel it differently, so I get a sense, and then I know where the restrictions are, and it informs me of the kind of pattern of movement that happens when they're off the table and my hands aren't on the body. So I get a different kind of flavor of how people struggle when they move and where they struggle.
to the internet, but I was saying, you understand the dysfunctions, like, so you can then, and you understand the correct movement of the body based on the information that you put out there. It's very simple and it's correct. So you can make that link for people who have the dysfunctional movement. Like,
Did your trainer realize that?
oh no, no. Oh God, no. The person I was working with, it wasn't this person I'm working with now, it's somebody else. Oh, absolutely not. No. I mean, they don't have the words, like the way you describe the pelvis moving, they don't have words for that.
Oh,
They, for some reason, they don't want to, they tell me I think too much, you're too left-brained, I just have to feel. Well, what am I supposed to feel? You got to tell me what I'm supposed to feel, then maybe I'll feel it. And so your work actually gave me a visual. This is what you're supposed to feel. This is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
What's your body doing differently? Oh, I see my body like on that left movement is different. As you picked up, my head is forward. There were things going on that were making my movement dysfunctional. And yet I don't know, it's a weird disconnect. And I'm sort of puzzled, by why it's so bad in a way. I mean, it's,
it's not just, it's a movement in general, because the body is a complicated structure, and to understand the whole of it is takes a certain type of training, and not everybody is trained that way. And just like you're interested in learning a little deeper and not just kind of moving on to the next phase. You really want to understand it. And I think this work is great for those people who have that curiosity and that desire to understand things deeply. The same thing, like, people want to progress in whatever they're doing, and they don't really want to necessarily do it well and deeply. They just want to go on to the next thing. Like, let's say dancing. People just want to do the spins and the fancy stuff, and they don't really want to feel it. But when you really, really feel the rhythm and you feel it, it becomes an entirely different experience. And yeah.
What I like about your work is there's not a lot of details, because I did some Feldenkrais. Like, okay, pick out what you want me to pay attention to here, because you're throwing, 20 things at me in a 7-minute session.
Yeah.
But your stuff is like, just, it's so simple.
Yeah.
And it works. I mean, it's like, okay, bring your head back, keep your jaw there, fine. Roll your pelvis, keep your tailbone back, and lift your pelvis. Okay, fine. Get your weight down into your shins. Okay, fine. Stretch out your collarbones. Okay, fine. I mean, that's any, but maybe if somebody didn't know or didn't realize the importance, the difference of how you can do these things, halfway incorrectly, like I said, with the headpiece, this strength I have to hold my sternum up. And once I felt that, then I could continue to reproduce it, like just walking around. But I
Yeah.
never really felt it. And I've done a bunch of things to try to get there. Like somebody gave me a slant board to stand up against, the slant board up against the wall, stand there. Yeah, fine. Okay. You move from the slant board, everything flops back down. But once I felt that, it's like, okay, there's the muscles back there, my shoulders, and I can keep the head. It's just, all right. And then your body likes it. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, I remember this. Let me do this all the time because it feels better. It's the way the body is designed to work. It's
Yeah.
you, for me, gave me the system. You got my body to work as a system as a whole, work more efficiently, and my body has been getting stronger, as I mentioned to you the last time. Just using it correctly, because it's designed to move that way. And I'm, my age right here. I'm like 70 years old. It's like, and I can get my body stronger. So what will this do to some, to a younger person who's got a lot of body elasticity left? It's like, holy mackerel. So I'm just thrilled. I mean, I think this whole thing with this horse business, I think it's like there's been a path, and I guess I was kind of meant to find you.
Uh-huh.
Because I was so damn determined, pardon my French, to learn this, and that I feel like I've done it, even if I whatever, couldn't ride anymore. It's like, well, okay, I figured it out.
Yeah,
Of course,
nice.
my goal had been to help other people get there, but you really have a lot of ability to analyze somebody's dysfunction before you can help other people. I mean, so the both parties' bones are moving.
Mhm.
So the last couple times I rode, I feel like I was the horse. I mean, my bones became his bones. So that also I have some some fear issues, especially at my age. The fear goes away because it's like, well, I'm the horse now. And it's like you just described with the spinning. It's a whole different experience.
Mhm.
Like, oh my God, this is a whole different level here. We've gone to another level, another dimension of this thing. And it's just incredible. I mean, and the horse loves it. He's like, oh, yeah. Because I say, that's how you learn to speak horse, by letting your body move with them. So it's like,
Wow.
finally, you got it. And you can see he's got his ears. He's like, okay, here, you're talking to me now. Now, what would you like me to do?